All right, good evening, everybody. Take two. All right, so as you know, if you've watched my channel rather, if you like the content, you know, make sure you hit the subscribe so you get more notifications. I don't usually like doing these videos, even though they're the bulk of my channel. Um, I'd much rather chase clout with stuff I got in my two cars. But enough about that. So let's get into it. I'm going to play a couple of clips from different channels regarding delivery gigs because I'm also a delivery driver as well. I haven't experienced really anything extreme to what I'm about to play clips of. I'm not going to play the whole video, but you can get a rough idea of what we're talking about here. So let's get into this one. And this gentleman, he's talking about bad drivers, which is one side of the coin. So
I really captured on video from Volino's home.
In the house at the time, I had 4 kids under the age of 4.
As the grandfather emptied bullets from the cartridge, he told his daughter to call for help.
My 3-year-old granddaughter, I could hear in the back of my head yelling, "Papa, Papa."
Worried the weapon could have been fired at his grandchildren or daughter, who he says ordered roughly $100 worth of groceries the day before and did tip on her phone.
But that could have ended a lot worse. He had a gun, a loaded gun. The guy had to empty the cartridge. There's another case, even scarier.
And that's messed up. Like, you know, the universe hates you when you come armed with a gun and you still lose the fight.
A pizza delivery driver angry about a tip. I found a lot of these are about tips. There she is right there. She delivered the food, not happy about the tip, came back about an hour and a half later and stabbed the customer allegedly 14 times. Came with a knife right back to the door. You're like, answer the door. You're like,
okay, my reservation, and it sucks that it happened, but you've seen the driver before. They're coming back. Clearly, it's not going to be a good thing. And the other channel, I'm going to reference, even though he's done that, he says, do not do this, But anyhow, well, let me rephrase that. He's confronted customers over bad tips, which is a whole other side I'm going to get into. And even he says in his channel, do not confront customers. I know Lee Bag example, right?
Like what? What happened? Did you forget? Boom, stabbed 14 times. So she's in jail right now. Her case is ongoing. She's charged with attempted murder, home invasion with a firearm, kidnapping, aggravated assault. And you're seeing a pattern here, but the video I'm about to show you now is maybe the scariest I've seen, including the one with the gun, because this person has issues, gets very aggressive, attacks, wants to attack the customer, then actually does attack the police. This is absolutely insane. And by the way, while we're doing this, I completely forgot to mention, please hit like and subscribe. I always tell myself, say it at the beginning of the show, but I always forget because I'm so excited to get into the content. Like and subscribe. If you hit that like button, the little thumbs up, it really, really helps us out. It sends a message to the algorithm that this is important and they should spread it more widely. So I really, really would appreciate it if you can hit that like button right now and join the chat. I'm reading all of your comments below. I saw somebody from Australia is watching, which is awesome. We're worldwide. Join the chat. And let us know what experiences you've had with food delivery drivers. Maybe you are a food delivery driver as well, and you want to chime in. And by the way, I know you guys get attacked too. The general public is attacking Uber Eats and DoorDash drivers. We'll focus on that for a different show. Today, I wanted to focus on the customers. Good morning, Kathy. How are you? So this next video is incredibly insane. This is an Uber Eats delivery woman on a bicycle delivering the food. And she gets into an altercation with the customer. The customer obviously calls the cops. Cops show up and things go insane. And I want you to remember when you're watching this person could be at your doorstep. This person could be at your doorstep and you are inviting them in. Hey, what's going on from Ohio? All right, play it. Clip number 2. This is crazy.
Police respond to a verbal dispute between an Uber Eats driver and a customer, but the responding officers get way more than they bargained for.
So she's attacking the police. I don't think I need to really sit there and watch the rest because you get the theme of what this gentleman's talking about. He's talking about bad drivers. And, you know, and that's the thing that I really want to touch base on. You know, when you sign up for any type of delivery gig or anything like that, you know, you got to wonder, are they actually doing background checks? Are they really doing, or do they say they are? Because keep in mind, a lot of people, well, I don't want to say a lot of people, I don't know the statistics, you know, at the top of my head, but I'm sure a small percentage of people who do these are people who couldn't get hired at any other job, you know, because they have some type of criminal record. You know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, what we're seeing here is basically, you know, angry over, like, you know, a fucking tip. I mean, I think these three, you know, they put the fucking pepper spray girl to shame, you know, and the fucking, you know, alleged SA one, you know, and those are the two that went the most viral besides these. Like, how do we make that make sense? You know, and, you know, and again, you know, I'm a delivery driver for now. I haven't had anything super extreme other than people saying they didn't get their food, which I'll get into the next part of my video. You know, which is basically, you know, from the driver's perspective. Anyhow, let's see here. All right, so let's get into the next video that I'm going to share. I'm going to share it from the driver's perspective. Let me go to my history here. And this guy's got some really good content as well. You can watch his video. All right, so I'm not going to play the whole video. You can watch his channel. I'm sure you already have. But anyhow, you know, that's from like the customer side of things. And, you know, from the driver's side, you know, pun intended, by the way, you know, because again, I'm a delivery driver as well, you know, for now. But so basically, this is like one of those people who they just don't want to tip. And, you know, and that's the other side I'm going to get into. People want free food. It's just a way of trying to game the system. And, you know, it obviously, you know, affects, you know, delivery drivers rating, all that crap. You know, and all this applies to, you know, the ride share thing. I'm not going to talk about ride shares too much. You know, that's a whole other video in of itself. But, you know, again, it's similar because you're interacting with people, sort of. An algorithm is your fucking boss. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I do 3 right now. The shop and pays, you know, I guess, you know, last video, I guess he was doing a shop and pay, you know, where you go in, you do the shopping for the customer, and then you bring him the groceries, you know, and then a few different ones. I did try getting on, you know, Amazon Prime, Walmart Spark, or Amazon Flex, rather, Walmart Spark, all those. Said there were no opportunity, whatever. But anyhow, you know, there's 3 that I do. And you know, the only time I had a complaint on one of them, you know, was Rhodey, and that was because, you know, my early days, you know, one of the packages either got stolen was on, I don't know, stop and you didn't realize it. You know, it's unfortunate, and that was a back and forth thing. And the other side, you know, is a lot of times, you know, customers wouldn't give me like specific locations. In fact, if you go through my channel, you can find the Rhodey delivery I left on top of a police cruiser. You know, because fuck it, you know. Saw the cruiser there, I put it on the trunk, took a snapshot, sent it to the customer, and said, well, hey, I actually left it on top of a police cruiser because you gave me no fucking info. Well, I didn't phrase it like that, but you gave me no information on building number, door number, none of that. So it's a big college campus, and it's like, I could be chasing down the student. I'm just like, you know what? F it. I saw the cruiser, just put the package on the cruiser and just message the customer through the app saying it's on top of a police cruiser, so you might want to call them. I figured on top of police cruiser, you know, people are less likely to try to take it. You know, so yeah, fuck it. And the other thing, I'm going to reference this video because I've experienced this myself. You know, when they have, you know, apartments where you got to buzz in, all that crap, and you're trying to interact with the customer, and they're just not answering because, you know, a lot of people, me included, people don't answer numbers they don't fucking recognize. You know what I'm saying? So you probably saw that in one of my other videos. You know, fucking 5 delivery drivers doing 5 different gigs. None of us can get in, and I'm just like saying, you know, we should just say, fuck it, leave it right here. Nobody's answering. It's on them, not us. You know, we did everything we possibly could. You know, and that's that, you know, and, you know, again, you know, so you have your angry drivers, you know, and they're still fucking doing bad shit that gets them into trouble. Like, what the fuck over a fucking tip? You know, is it really that worth it? You know, hang on, maybe there might be some other one that more than makes up for it. I've had this happen myself. You know, it happened with Rhodey and Uber. You know, where one gig actually, for each one, you know, didn't pay out what I was hoping for. But on the other hand, I did some other gig that, you know, more than made up for it. And, you know, so that's that. But, you know, again, you know, the second video I was playing a snippet of, you know, was just, you know, that's customers that they just don't want to tip. And one of the things he mentions is that, you know, having them track you, it can work to your advantage or disadvantage. But only if you're online. You know, again, every app works differently. You know, I have the Uber one set up to where I was recording. In fact, it actually came in handy during one of my own deliveries, where ironically, it was supposed to be like a twofer. You know, I got the one, you know, it was ice cream, and then a Home Depot one pinged me, and, you know, sure enough, the ice cream one's, hey, can you make my priority? And then no lie, and plug it in the, you know, plug in the GPS, you know, in a rest area. And sure enough, I see a fucking cruise behind me. I'm like, oh, fuck. So, you know, I'm getting out on the road, start moving, then he flashes blues, and it's like, yeah, well, it looks like somebody's not getting their food. So, yeah. So that was that. I'm not going to go into details. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video was that there's a whole bunch of other factors that can come into play, and that being one of them. You know, I'm not hating on the cop or any of that, so don't take it that way. It's just, that's what happened. All that crap, and the customer's food was ice cream. So obviously I just like said, well, I got pulled over by the police, so it looks like you're not getting your food. You know, and I still got the payout, you know, because I had Uber support on the phone while I was dealing with that shit. So yeah, they put 2 and 2 together, and, you know, and that was that. You know, so yeah, that day made a whopping $8.76. Yeah. Actually, I think I did another. Yeah, I believe I did another delivery after the fact. But anyhow, I digress. So yeah, again, that's also other shit that, you know, can happen. And so yeah, you got your evil on both sides of the coin. Your customers that just don't want to they want to say they didn't get their food, and that's why I also have additional cameras. But luckily with the Uber Eats, where they have it record my truck video and audio, that way there's no dispute. A customer can't say they didn't get their food, so that pretty much solves that problem. And again, I don't know if DoorDash has something like that, but I guess according to this gentleman, DoorDash has a feature. Obviously, like they all do, you can interact with the customers, you can report all that stuff. And one thing I do want to say is, I don't find Shop and Pay is worth my time, because one, Tap and Pay doesn't work on my phone, and having to use your own credit card or debit card and then deal with the reimbursement. That's just fucking bullshit. Although that being said, I did request a DoorDash card, specifically for that purpose. So I'll give it another go, with DoorDash with a physical card, and just see what happens. And they did compensate me, for trying to do part of the gig because, I caught him on the phone, all that crap. So kudos. But again, you don't know who you're dealing with, customers or drivers. That's just the thing. And back to the driver situation, some of them could be people who just couldn't get any other job because they have some type of a racket. And that's the unfortunate thing. So it's like they have to do that. And then, of course, you got your non-tipping customers, and they can track you too. Especially the way he was phrasing it. They can track a driver's location. So there's evil on both sides. With this type of work, and you just have to take it with a grain of salt. You just have to move. You just have to move on. So if somebody doesn't do it, you just fucking move on and just say, pray you get, a better one from, some other customer. What I will say, and I've said this in comments in other videos, is that, I have a, what I like to call a hybrid system. Now, fortunately, the Android Auto doesn't seem to work properly in my car, so I got to fix that because I'll get to that in a minute. I have what is known as a hybrid system where I'll try to aim for, roadie gigs, especially if it's a big one, do that knowing that I'm going to get that money, excluding Walmart gigs because they always switch them on you. But leaving that off the equation, let's say I take a $60 roadie gig, right? And let's say they advertise 3 hours and some change, right? Now, I know for me, it might take me a little over 4 hours, and I'm going to tell you why. I like to take pauses because sometimes you just have to do that, for the whole self-care thing. That's just me. So I just take the pause, do half a little, depending on what it is, of course. Get that out of the way. I know I have that money, and then the rest I just either fire up DoorDash, or Uber Eats. Now, the navigation on Uber Eats is very piss poor. And again, it means you have to look at your phone, which means you're not watching the road. And contrary to what they say about, contact making them, it doesn't. It doesn't. And now DoorDash, on the other hand, their navigation gives you audibles. And that actually, for me, I actually find better to work with. An audible, turn right at Treetop Lane. And then in 200 feet, your destination is on the left. Because my eyes are on the road, I just listen for the audible, and then boom. Whereas with Uber Eats, you got to fucking look at that thing. Even if you have your Android Auto, you still got to look at it. And again, that's taking your eyes off the road. Roadie doesn't have anything like that. However, Roadie will translate it, transfer the information to Google Maps. and I probably should use that feature with my last gig, which was at an airport, but I digress. But my vehicle has its own GPS, so I can just use that, and if that doesn't work, I can compare it to what Google Maps is saying, just see where I should be. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing you got to factor in. And again, whenever I'm doing that, my vehicle is not moving at all. It's in park somewhere, all that crap. But enough about vehicle talk. The point of this video was that, there's you got your bad customers, you got your bad drivers. How come you don't get the two of them together? Who's going to take out who? That would go viral. That would be definitely, that would be some, that would go viral. Although, if I ate pepper spray treated food, it might clear up my sinuses. Anyhow, that does it for this live stream. Anyhow, hope you like the content. Hope you subscribe. All the happy horse shit. And for those who have subscribed and watched, thank you for your support. Anyhow, I got to wind myself down for the night so I can get up to go to work for my regular job. I'll talk to you.